So welcome to our today live session as we are moving towards the commemoration of the Day of the African Child. And we want to appreciate that we are joined with able colleagues from different parts of this country so that we can get to discuss on the theme of the international Day of the African Child. Sorry. In 2016, the Africa Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of the Child established a 25-year agenda, namely Agenda 2040, which was all about fostering an Africa fit for children. The main objective of the agenda is to restore the dignity of the African child through assessing the achievements and challenges. First, towards the effective implementation of the African Children's Charter. So the agenda, by further elaborating paragraph 53 of Agenda 2063, intends to establish long-term strategies that will contribute towards sustaining and protecting children's rights in Africa. The overall target is to expand significant goals and priority areas to which the respective member states and African Union commit to for the upcoming 25 years. The agenda sets out 10 solid aspirations to be achieved by the year 2040 and provides brief backgrounds with a deep insight on specific issues. So the document also identifies action steps to be executed by member states for the first period of the first 25-year journey ahead. So the 10 aspirations are the following. Aspiration 1 is the African Children's Charter, as supervised by the African Children's Committee, provides an effective continental framework for advancing children's rights. Aspiration 2 is an effective, child-friendly national legislative policy and institutional framework is in place in all member states. Aspiration 3, every child's birth and other vital statistics are registered. Aspiration 4 is every child survives and has a healthy childhood. Aspiration 5, every child grows up well-nourished and with access to the basic necessities of life. Aspiration 6, every child benefits fully from quality education. Aspiration 7, every child is protected against violence, exploitation, neglect, and abuse. And Aspiration 8, children benefit from a child-sensitive criminal system. Aspiration 9, every child is free from the impact of armed conflict and disasters or emergency situation. And lastly, Aspiration 10 is African children's views matters. So thank you so much. We'll be looking into those issues, and I'm joined by able colleague in child protection, whom at this point in time I'll give an opportunity to introduce themselves. So I'll welcome Winfrey. Give us a brief introduction about herself, where she's coming from, what she does, and something that we don't know about you. Karibu Winfrey, sorry.
Hello.
Winfrey, you're on
Hello.
mute. Unmute yourself. Yes. Yeah, I can hear you right now. You are to mute yourself. Winfrey, unmute yourself, please.
This is you. Hello. My name is
Hey,
Winfrey
yeah, Karibu, so we
Atieno.
can hear you. Please proceed.
My name is Winfrey Atieno from Child Space Organization. I'm the head of the Smart Children Club, and today I'm going to represent Child Space Organization. Thank you so much for this wonderful platform. And I know at the end of this platform, we shall share something and we'll come out with something great and something big. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Winfrey. I'd request maybe if you could move away from the light behind you.
Okay.
I mean, the window is okay. Yeah. Sawa. So we are also joined by our other colleague, Naima. So welcome, Naima. Please introduce yourself. We get to know you. Please unmute yourself.
Zubair. I'm
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for the introduction, Naima. So maybe I mean getting to understand about the Agenda 2040, and I would love to invite you, Winfrey, to briefly take us through the first three agendas. That is the Agenda 1, 2, and 3. As much as your work is concerned, how important are the three agendas, and you as an organization, what are you doing to actually achieve the first three agendas of the Aspiration 2040? Sorry. Karibu, Winfrey.
Okay, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
You've
One
muted
of the
yourself
things
again.
I've muted.
Unmute yourself. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so to me, as an organization, what you have done, we have mobilized some children, because I remember yesterday when there was a brief meeting about this. By the way, our girl from Child Space Organization was the one representing all the children in Kenya. So to us, one step at a time, we have decided to inspire these children in different situations. Like yesterday, I remember the girl was saying that some of the children in our country, if they want to get some birth certificate, it's so hard for them to get one. Yeah, for me, I know it's true, because for us as an organization, we know we are mobilizing these children, and for us to continue the work and to continue experiencing ideas, we decided to bring these children together in our area. The 0% of pregnancy, the 0% of 0% of drug and substance abuse. For us, we decided to bring this together, and for our programs, that is Smart Children Club, we normally do like 1 hour for mentorship classes, and afterwards we normally mobilize these children in various talents and activities. So each and every time, maybe there's some children, maybe kuna mwenye anatoka tu pale, and for us teachers, we are observant, and kidogo kidogo ukimuuliza what's wrong my dear, they will tell you that maybe sijakula, ama just some family issues. And for us, we do not ignore such kind of things. We do come out as an organization, tunachukua step, and we find this shit, tunamwongelesha. Kama tuko na contact ya mzazi, we call the parent, and we go straight to the parent and talk about all of this. So to me, I think for us to help these children, we must get to these parents first, alafu tujue what's wrong, ama what's yani nini inafanyika huko chini kwa background ya wazazi, kwa sababu you may find that but maybe the parents are the root of all these. So to me, I think we should come up and think what we'll do with these parents. Yeah.
About what you do as an organization. We have another colleague who has just joined us, and it will be fair if I give her an opportunity to introduce herself. So, Karibu Amoit, please have the opportunity to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you do, and what specifically you do. I mean, as much as issues around children is concerned and children's rights. Karibu Ima.
Asante Noli. What is happening? What is happening? Just a minute. Whoa.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me? I have
Yes,
just
but
lost...
the camera is off. I don't.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to figure out here what has happened.
Ama, okay. You've clicked stop cam. Stop cam.
I am rejoining. Let me just see if it can bring me back in so that I can log in properly. Okay, I'm re-entering. No, let me re-enter.
So maybe we'd get to hear from Naima. Naima, we get to hear from you who you are, where you're based, what you do. What programs are you doing as much as children issues are concerned? And more specifically, as we are moving to the Day of the African Child, with a specific theme, what introduction would you like to give to us? Karibu.
Okay, thank you very much. As I said earlier, my name is Naima Zubair. I'm from Shakirina Youth for Development. Shakirina Youth for Development is a community-based women youth-led organization based in Mombasa County in Old Town location. So, okay, what are we doing when it comes to children? Okay, we are one of our thematic area is sports for development. So we're doing a community-based sports project in our area in Old Town, and our main beneficiaries are children from 8 years to 16 years who are at risk to gangs and juvenile gangs in the society. So we are using sports as a tool to mobilize them and bring them together. So during sports, we have a mentorship session with them. Number two, we have a one-on-one session of which we usually take them through counseling and psychology sessions, and we also do debriefings with them. And also number three, which is common, we also have a coach who is talented and who is affiliated to FKF. So the coach instills them with skills on how to play football. So that's all what we are doing. And number four, we had to stop because of lack of resources. We had a session of which we could take these children to read. It was a reading program. So we usually partner with different schools, education institutions, whereby we get books. So we bring the books to the field. We have like a mobile library, wherein we bring the library to the field, and the kids, they sit in circles and read. So we're trying to help them in having good marks and also learning English when it comes to education.
Thank you so much for that introduction. About what you do, and that is a very, very, very good introduction. I would like to welcome our other colleague to introduce himself. Mariam, if you could hear me, I can see you've muted your camera. You've stopped your camera actually, but let's get to hear from you who you are. Thank you so much. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
If you're okay, you can have. So we just want to know you, who you are, where you coming from, and what are you doing as much as issues of child protection are concerned. Karibu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Noli. This is Mariam Ayoti from Lamu County. I am from Toto Center Initiative. It is a community-based organization in Lamu. And Toto Center, we are doing child protection. And we do this by addressing social and cultural harmful practices that our children are undergoing that makes them not to go to school. And most of the time we go to primary schools. We are working closely with primary schools. We're working with children, schools, community members, key departments like the education office and other CSOs. We're trying to see and find a way on how we can talk to our children and address their issues. And this came to birth as a result of the Aga Khan Foundation. The Aga Khan Foundation was doing a program, and it was called BOSS, Bringing Out of School Children Back to School. But when we were doing the program, the Aga Khan Foundation mainly targeted the economic side. So when we came in, we saw that there was need for social and cultural practices to be handled so that the children are retained in school. So most of the time we do menstrual hygiene, we do guidance and counseling, sexual education to our adolescents. Yeah, that is it. And we also partner with the justice and probation officers in Lamu County, Mpeketoni, to help the children, the survivors of SGBV. Thank you, Noeli. That is it.
Thank you so much, Mariam, for that good introduction. And I can see our colleague Ima has sorted herself, so I'll give her an opportunity to introduce herself. Just briefly, we'd love to hear from you, who you are, where you're coming from, what you're doing, and maybe a context of children issues from where you're coming from. Karibu.
Asante sana. Hi, everyone. Nice to see so many people that I interact with online, the likes of Mariam and the rest. We interact a lot on Twitter. So I'm honored to finally get to meet you virtually. So I'm really excited. So my name is Amoit Immaculate. Most people call me Ima or Amoit. I work with WeTech, Western Taweza Empowerment Campaign, which is a community-based organization in Western Kenya. And our focus is on adolescent girls. And as we know, all adolescent girls fall under the age of 18 years, and therefore their children. And therefore, most of our programs just work towards protecting them from exploitation, protecting them from violence and abuse, considering that I'm from Busia County. And as we all know, this is a border town. And being a border town, there are so many challenges facing children, like truancy, like becoming, what do we call them? Tunawaita magendo, wanaingia kwa magendo mapema. So there are various forms of exploitation, and I'm really happy that the Children's Department under the national government, whom we have partnered with, and we continue having several meetings. Like a month ago, we had a stakeholders meeting in child protection, where we're just discussing then the challenges children face, and they were in that room to also tell us what are some of the solutions. For example, if it's a teenage pregnancy, if it is sexual exploitation, if it is education, because as we know, Busia County is, the poverty index for Busia County is 68.7 now. The last time I checked was 68.7.5. So the poverty index is really very, very high. And when you look at Aspiration 6 or Agenda 6 of the African Charter, it basically says that every child should benefit from quality education. And therefore, when the poverty rate is high, most of the children will not afford to go to schools. So as an organization, we are not able to give scholarship, but we've been able to refer many girls and boys to World Development Funds and Constituent Development Funds. Like this term, at least 4 of our children in our program, they've been paid for school fees through the World Development Fund. So that is how then, as an organization, we are getting to meet Agenda 6. For Agenda 7, as you know, I stated earlier, we are at the border town, and child exploitation is rampant, especially it's for both boys and girls at this point, because truancy, the boys will not go to school, and therefore they'll start magendo at a very early age. And magendo is everything, including drugs. So I'm really happy that as an organization, there's this thing called Joining Forces Alliance for Child Protection. It is a program by Terrestre Homes, whereby all the stakeholders in child protection, we meet at least twice or thrice a month, not thrice, after every 3 months, 2 months, we often meet and just discuss. So far, we discussed this strategy. Has this strategy worked? We discussed this strategy. This strategy of protecting our children failed. So how then we keep improving? Like the last time around May, we were discussing of criminalizing adolescent sex, right? So you find these children consented to early sex. They are 15 and 15. They've consented to sex, and they're being punished for it. So we were discussing with the deputy commissioner and the children's department, how do we then not punish children for engaging in early sex or premarital sex? Because some of them are not aware even what they're doing. Do they even know this is sex in the first place? So we're just looking at not taking all kids to approved schools, because they consent. Children consent. And when they consent, when you criminalize them and penalize them, and you remove them from a home system, and then take them to a criminal, approved schools, is almost like you're criminalizing that child for engaging in sex. And they're not even aware of what they're doing in the first place. So we're looking at how then do we formulate policies that can then protect the boy and the girl at the same time. Because then when the criminal system is not sensitive to the child's need, we end up just having criminals, not children. So I'm really glad some of these issues came up in our last meeting, and probably I'll be picking ideas from everyone and see what Mombasa is doing, so that I can share with other stakeholders. Thank you. That was a long introduction.
No problem. Actually, you've brought about an issue that is very contentious, the issue of consent, and it was a concern some times ago when people we'll call them the learned people were actually in a conversation about issues of consent. But I want to bring you, Winfrey. I've brought you, Winfrey, back again, so that we get to look at the aspiration one. You see, the aspiration one is that the African Children's Charter, as supervised by the African Children's Committee, provides an effective continental framework for advancing children's rights. So my question is, as a person, do you feel the African Children's Charter is providing enough framework for advancing children's rights? What's your take on that? What's your take on the African Children's Charter? Karibu, Winfrey.
Thank you so much, Noli, for this opportunity once again. Okay, to me, I feel like it's not enough, because Amot earlier said that most of the children, like wakifanya makosa, they're taken to approved school. That's not the solution, right? So to me, I do think that it's not enough what our children are being given, because mostly, if you can say, if it was enough, hatungekuwa na street children hapo nje, and if it was enough also, hatungekuwa we will never get these children wenye wanapata mimba at the early stage. To me, I think it's not enough, because if you see in every county like Nairobi, be it in Mombasa, be it in Kakamega, Kisumu, everywhere, you might find some children, like the girls are at risk because they are the ones who ndo wanashika mimba. They just do anything for something. Like in short, if there was a case that if a girl wanted some sanitary pads, they'll bend so low, and they reach to that point that they get pads for sex. That is not what we should do. That is not what our government should do. And for me, I think it is much easier if the government kama wangekuwa wanataka kusupport these young girls ama these young people, they could provide these things hapo kwa shule, because this is not healthy for our community and they are spoiling our girls. I remember last month I went to an organization, it is based in Ngong Hills. When nilifika pale, I got some people, it is based in vitu za Christian. So when I reached there, I was so sad because I remember me seeing a girl with 9 years and she was pregnant. And ukitaka kujua what was wrong is that mostly they were just like, I'm bringing my cousin back at home and kumbe he's defiling my girl. Nona. So to me, I don't think it is right. And if these parents will define this child ati kuna venye alikuwa amepata this pregnancy, the family decided to kick this child out. And this organization, they do take these children which when defiliwa, they take them to the organization, they stay with them for 2 years, they take them to school and they pay for their school fees. So to me, I don't think that the government has taken anything for this. They've taken enough steps for these children. That's for me. I don't know you people what you're going to say about this. And if it was a good idea, if the government were taking things out, I remember there were some cases of criminals, any crime, it was so high, but in Nairobi, be it in Mombasa, everywhere. And mostly, if you can see, the people who are doing these crime scenes, they were young people. So I don't think the government has taken any step for improvising these young people in our society. I'm sorry to say so, but I have to say this.
Yeah. It's very understandable, and thank you. You know, it's good when you speak from utmost honesty, and the government might be trying its level best to make sure that it has provided all that its rights holders need, but also it is our duty, and I believe it is our duty, and we cannot keep quiet. We need to hold the government to account. We need to ask them, like you've brought in a very important legislation about the Basic Education Amendment Act, which provided for every girl who is in a public school requires to be provided by sanitary materials, and it's something which doesn't happen. The other, it was being tossed it was being taken from the office of the Ministry of Education. It was taken again to the Women's Rep. It was brought to Social Development Department. And in our case in Mombasa, it was something which could not be understood. And it's just a call to the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, under which this department falls in, to see that in collaboration with the Ministry of Education that these issues have been taken care of. And Mariam, if you're there, you've muted your camera and you. Okay, asante. I can see that you're back. Mariam, if you're there, maybe just to get to hear from you as much as the agenda 4 and 5 is concerned. What is your take? I mean, they are the aspirations of the Africa Committee of Experts on the rights of the child. But what is your take? What is your honest perspective? Are they being affected? Ama ziko tu hapo? Karibu,
I think
Mariam.
Thank you. I think ziko tu, according to me, in what I've seen here in Lamu, some have been effectively implemented. I think the problem is resources and the right institutions where to place these children. Because as Winfrey has said, squeezy children so many of them are in crime. So many of them have just criminals taken accounted for achieving it. They're very far from achieving it.
Thank you so much. I was almost losing you at some point, lakini I get to understand that that our children have resorted to other things to make a living for themselves, looking at the fact that education has been a challenge to all the children. And I would like to bring back Naima specifically, so that we get to look at aspiration number 9. Aspiration number 9, from where you are operating from what you're doing. I mean, aspiration number 9, that every child is free from the impact of armed conflict and other disasters or emergency situation. From where you're coming from, I mean, children, young people, are they free from the impact of armed conflict in your community? Are there cases of conflict? In those cases, are there happenings of disasters? Yeah, and in those cases of emergency, are our children protected? Karibu Naima.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, in Agenda 9, every child is free from the impact of armed conflicts and other disasters or emergency situations. So in Oldstown, where our organization is situated and where we are implementing our project, we've seen a lot of implications when it comes to crime and juvenile gangs. We have cases more than 100 plus each and every day. And we've seen the government institution is not ready to work on that. Number one, and also number two, we've seen the parents themselves are not ready to work with stakeholders so that to ensure every child is safe. As we talked yesterday, we had an incident where 2 students who were going home after going from tuition, they were stabbed by sharp objects by some other young people, of which the case was was reported to the police, and nothing happened, and the victim was taken to the hospital. So I think there is a need to push for this agenda, as we see a lot of people now are being victimized and the culprits are in the community. So I think the children department, and together with the justice systems, together with the security institution and partners, should come up with a plan to implement and effectively work on this agenda. Because in our local context, as a community member, as a parent, I feel that when my boy or when my girl becomes a perpetrator, it's like the community now is against my child. While at the same time, my child is not doing right for the community, but the best way is, let's say, to ask this child what's happening in their life, or we can also help that child to go through the processes of being rehabilitated.
Thank you. Thank you for that. You see, it's a challenge, like you're putting it. It's a challenge in our local community, where young people get access to weapons, from pen knives to. It's a very big challenge. So I wanted to bring you back, Ima, specifically on Agenda 8, because the Agenda 8 is about children benefit from a child-sensitive criminal system. I don't know of your case in where you're operating from, but in Mombasa, we only have, I'd say in cost, we only have one children's court. Yeah. And in some cases, this is the court that is being used for other family-related cases. And you'd find there are backlog of cases which are growing there. And also you'll find that at times a child offender, I mean, we don't call them criminals. They are children offenders, or children who are in conflict with the law, are put in the same holding cell with other adults and other criminals. So maybe getting to hear from you, as a person who is into child protection, this aspiration number 8, children benefit from a child-sensitive criminal system, is it something which we, as a country, as a community, are doing right?
I think as a country, I think I'll say, as a country, we are not there yet, because then when you look at how approved schools worked, I wish we had a different term from approved schools, because when you say approved, you're already criminalizing them. You're already isolating this child, right? So I don't think as a country we are there yet. And just how I got to visit one of the approved schools in Western Kenya in Sikusa, and because a very close cousin was there, and just going to visit him and looking at the conditions, it was so harsh. And I thought, wow, if this is what approved schools look like, then literally we've criminalized these children. And remember, they're not criminals, they're child offenders. And they've been put in these some circumstances because sometimes even because of parenting. Yeah, it is maybe parenting, poor parenting, that has put these children in the state that they are in. I'm sorry to share this. I may not mention the children's names, but last year, I think I shared with Noli, I got to stay with 6 children from one family who had been abandoned and neglected in a rental house in Malaba town. And for me, that was really difficult. I took those children in because I thought, wow, these are 4 girls. What if someone comes and breaks into this house and they're defiled? These are teenagers. What if they don't have money to feed themselves? For the boys, we had a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old boy. What if they can't afford to provide for themselves and they decide, tunaenda pale kwa barabara tusimame, tuchape mtu ngeta so that we can get something to eat? You see, you're criminalizing this child and you're not looking at the circumstance that led to the offense in the first place. So I'm very pleased to inform the rest of the panel here that Busia County has a children's court. I am yet to interact with that children's court, but I'm hoping as the year goes by, I'll just go and see and look at it. How does it operate? How does it treat child offenders especially? Because as things are right now, I don't think we have achieved Agenda 8. Aspiration 8 is way, way behind. For me, I think because they're child offenders, I would suggest, as Winfrey had said earlier, can we have a safe home for them? Instead of criminalizing them and taking them to approved schools, can we have a home, not an approved school, but a home? And then it's just a suggestion and it's possible, so that this is a home and a school at the same time. And you have patrons who act as parents in the same system. And I think for every county, because counties are vast, if we can have the home and school combined, I think that is a very good idea. There's an organization in Nyeri that is running some kind of this program that I'm suggesting. It has a school and a home for teenage mothers. So all teenage mothers who've not been able to be reintegrated to schools because of stigma, they go to this school, and their children are also in that school, because then it is a school and home at the same time. Can we then have such programs, I think, in all counties? If we have such a program, then we can say as a country, we've achieved Agenda 8. Then can this then, children in these approved schools, for example, because let's say we are using the current system, can the current system then help these children transition to universities? Because most of them do informal schooling kinda. So, and some of these children are A material. Can we make it in such a manner that, in as much as they're child offenders, we make it possible so that they can go to universities, so that they can go to, and there are examples, there are those who are really doing well. For those who come from approved schools and they go to high schools and they go to universities, can we make that number go higher? Because I just read of one story who was in an approved school and he's at, I think, Jomo Kenyatta or Kenyatta University. Instead of just boxing them into informal schooling. Yeah. So I think as a country, as CSOs, as a government, as international organizations, we can do more to invest in that. If we can invest in a system that works on both formal and informal, I think that would be a good idea. And just because I'm coming back to parenting, can we have parents in these approved schools? Because right now they're called Boston. What are they called?
They used to. They are more or less correctional centers. The Boston was
why correctional center? You know, when you say correctional center, you've criminalized the child. You know, I'm thinking as a country, yenyewe noli, tujafika, we are trying, but hatujafika, we have a long way to go, by the way. And I wish we just say, we be open. You know, I'm honored that I get to go into those spaces where I can inform policy, you see? And I know all of us here are in that space where you sit with other stakeholders, government officials, the Ngao, and these things are managed by Ngao. Can we then tell them, look, you're the government officials, and this system is already criminalizing the children. Can we make it fairer? Can we, I'm thinking love really works. Can we just love on child offenders instead of criminalizing them? I'm sorry, I'm having a very bad flu. I'm having a very bad flu. I'm even wearing a mask in the house because I'm scared of the flu, for everyone to get the flu. I hope I was clear.
Very clear. And in Mombasa, there is one in Likoni, and they call it Likoni Remand Home. So now, okay, the nature of conflict, I mean, the nature of conflict these children are committed varies from case to case. And it being a remand home, that is one. And then there is another facility at Shimo, which is now the Bostol institution, more or less like a prison. Now they call it a Bostol institution. And these are structures which are put by the government, and we hope they can be. So I wanted to invite Winfrey to specifically, I mean, we delve into aspiration 3, and aspiration 3 is more or less about every child's birth and other vital statistics are registered. And Mombasa, we have an issue with the street connected children. I know it's an issue in Nairobi too. I mean, there are children who are street connected. There are those who are attached to there are those who are homeless. I mean, there are those children who are born in normal societies and communities, but having a birth certificate is a big deal. And I was troubled sometimes last year when there was a boy that we wanted to support as a family to go to Form 1, and we came to learn the boy didn't have a birth certificate. The boy was not registered in NEMIS, and it was such a big concern. So just getting to hear from you, aspiration 3, every child's birth and other vital statistics are registered. Where are we and what can we do as a country? Karibu, Winfrey.
Thank you so much once again, Noli. For me, what I can say, every child should be registered, because like you said earlier, that was an example you gave, that kuna mtoto hakupata name is because of the birth certificate. For this, where hata ukiangalia, I know this child, maybe it was in a Form 4 class, maybe let's just say, maybe mtoto atakasirika, and if it was a boy child, I know he will not go on with the schooling. I know atatoka. And what will be the expectation? One, he will be a criminal, that is, or maybe do something for a living. And for me, I think crime would be the most one thing that this boy will do. So to me, I think the government should give this birth certificate free, because there's no way you're going to get. So when in Kenya, I don't think where mtu anafaa lipe pesa to get registered in the government. I think, and for me personally, I think one should the government should give the birth certificate freely, because it will make these young people not to go on with their schooling, and they will not reach to that dream or the goal which they always want and wished for. So to me, I think the government will give these registration things freely, be it the birth certificate and anything else, because that's my take on this. The government should give registration cards, anything, these birth certificates to these children freely. Even the honestly. Thank you.
Hey, I can see you're mobilizing support, and I've brought Miriam. I don't know if she'll support you or not, but my question is, do we have systems, because if nowadays wanaweza kututengezea huduma namba na ikuje kwa wasaa, what is stopping them from making it easy? Mtoto amezaliwa apate birth certificate, moves to school. I mean, the database is there. When they move to any other facility, wanaweza kusaidika. But even as we are looking into that, Mariam, I'd want to get to hear your input on the fifth aspiration. Yeah, that every child grows up well nourished and with access to the basic necessities of life's aspiration. The aspect of nourishment, yeah, na yale mahitaji, the basic necessity of life aspiration. Children, like Naima has put it for us, that children are playing soccer, but children can barely afford even an old pair of shoes. Children can barely afford, a ball. Hata ile that one that we used to be taught how to make, ile using polythene bags to make. Now that polythene bag are banned, children cannot they can no longer make those balls. Yeah. So from your end, Mariam, are we doing enough to make sure that every child grows up well nourished, yeah, and access to the basic necessities of life aspirations? What's your take? What's your input, and what do you have about that?
Well, about that aspiration 5, let me talk on my end from Lamu County. I think there's still a problem. It's a work in progress. We are trying. Like in Lamu, there have been different organizations like Safaricom. Safaricom has launched Linda Mama, the maternal health care. It's really helping. And then also the governor, Mr. Fahim, also has NHIF cards zenye kina mama wanatumia na pia any other ordinary person. But for a child, Lamu County, I wouldn't say that there is food insecurity. It is, but some areas have food insecurity and they depend on charity. Like there is a certain place, it's in Boni Forest. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
The schools, even the structure itself it was just built recently. Children the school is very far from the homes of the children. The children have to walk for a very long distance to access the education. And the school is not even complete. So there's a problem. And sometimes, actually most of the times, the children only come to school because they are assured that they'll get something to eat for lunch. So they just come to school so that they are able to get something for lunch. In Lamu, there's a problem. I'm not going to hide. Most children are suffering because of the distance, because of poverty. Poverty is very high in our county. So we have a long way to go. Some girls, especially the girls, are suffering. Well, that is why we have that program here, menstrual hygiene. Mm-hmm. So we get pads from whatever point to Tapata. We go to schools, we do the menstrual hygiene. Some of them they still hold dear their cultures, the FGM and mambo ya early marriage. So we are trying. We are really trying. But hapo kwa well nourished, it is a problem. Some children just go to school because of the feeding program, and it is only lunchtime, and that is based on charity. So it's a problem. It's a problem, yeah.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for that insight, and it's a big challenge.
Very big
for
challenge.
Us who are parents when we cannot provide for our children. I've seen a case of a parent who really wept like a child when the girl had performed to be admitted in a secondary school, a public secondary school, and this mama could not actually afford to even buy a pair of socks so that this girl gets to proceed to secondary education, and it's such a big concern. And recently we had that case in Mwakirungi, in Mombasa's Kisauni sub-county, where there was this woman who used to boil stones just to push time
Yeah.
so
So the
that
children,
children can sleep. And you see, I
it is
mean,
very
boiling
sad.
stones, and then it's very sad. And okay, I appreciate that there are some individuals who came through and they supported, but to date, nobody knows the state and welfare of that woman and those children. Yeah, so it's such a burden. It's a burden per se for any parent not being able to take care of their children. And we usually say, and I like what one of our officials in the government always tells us, that the children belongs to the state, and we
Yeah.
can decide to come and
And take them.
take them away from you. And you see, and it's such a good statement. And I get to ask myself, why can't the government, the very government that can come and take away the children from my house, take them out of the street? So it's an issue and a big concern, as much as the well nourishment and the holistic development of children is concerned. And maybe I'd want to hear from Naima, as much as Aspiration 10 is concerned. Aspiration 10, I mean, is all about the views of children, yeah, and the charter aspired that every children's views matters. My question is, are we in a society or community that values, appreciates, and accepts children's views? In your opinion? Karibu, Naima.
So thank you very
Naima,
much.
unmute yourself.
Yes, I've unmuted myself. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me first talk about our organization as Shakirina Youth for Development. I think when it comes to Agenda 10, we are fully implementing the agenda, because to us we feel the views of children matter. A good example is last week we had a tournament of youths from 18 years plus, and during the event it was on a mid-term holiday. So during the event, we saw children from different schools who are out of school coming, and they wanted, an opportunity to play with adults, and they were refused. So after the game, we had to sit down with them and ask them what they wanted, and they requested that we do a tournament for them, and the tournament will be for under 14. So on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we did the same for these young people, and they feel appreciated. So when it comes to our local community, we have a lack of a developed culture of including children in our everything. Be it at home, be it in schools, be it in the community. Everyone feels like, this is just a kid. So, this is just a kid. They will not add anything, or they will not add any impact in anybody's life. But I believe when we engage these kids at a younger age, they'll grow to be fully citizen, fully responsible people, and also they'll feel appreciated in what they usually do. So I think we have challenges. Number one, we have challenge of when it comes to taking children's view, it's like it's not our culture. So we need to harness and make this as an important tool when it comes to upbringing our young people. And number two, we also have a low participation of children during the commemoration of the Day of the African Child and Day of the a commemoration of all days, Day of the Girl Child, Day of the African Child, because most of the time we feel like during these events we need to have more like, let's say, 300 children, 500 children in a certain place, but we usually have a low amount of children. So I think we need now to embrace a change when it comes to children, because when we bring out a low number of children, which means others will be left out. Then another thing is when it comes now to our government, we had the children assembly. I don't know where it has reached, or I don't know where it is currently, because in the assemblies most of the time we used to hear outside the challenges, the opportunities children have. But currently, we don't hear anything about them. It's just about maybe an organization having a children's program and profiling those children to be maybe allies, champions. But when it comes to the larger community, children are left out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naima, for that important input. And we really appreciate that as an organization, you're providing that platform for children to participate, and that, which is very positive. And sports is one of those things which we do to support our children. And I would love to as we are concluding, we are around half an hour and to conclude, I wanted to bring you back, Winfrey, just for us to get a context of your county as a county. You as working with partners in networks. Would you say there is progress towards realization of Agenda 2040? Generally, as much as children are concerned in terms of care, protection, development, as a county, would you, what's your take? Is there progress in realizing Agenda 2040, or we're still lagging behind? Karibu.
Thank you once again. To me, I can say that as for me, for our organization, we are taking one step ahead, because I remember when we started this organization, these young people were not well, there were not that many in our organization. There were so less. So for us to teach young people, we decided to come up with this program, which is called the Smart Children Club for them. This is all about talents, and we decided to give them more skills in this Smart Children Club. We decided to bring out things like dance, things like football, basketball, things like modeling, things like arts, designs, so that each and every child will feel free and will fit in these talents. So to me, as an organization, our partners very much, they're doing so much work. For us, it's a plus, because without them, we could lag behind. And for now, as I am speaking, we are more than 200. These children are more than 200 in our organization, both boys and girls. And for us, it's a good plus. And when I remember, Nairobi was it was Western, I think. It was the one with the biggest number of with teenagers who are pregnant. For me, I think our organization, young people, did mobilize them into various activities, and for us to achieve these goals with them, we decided to come up with programs, and these programs help them each time. Like things like HIV, we decided to teach them about STIs and everything. And for them, how it looks like. At the end of the day, this child will feel like, so that is what ilitufanya mpaka tukazidi grow. And for us introducing this easy dance and everything, we gained what we wanted. There was 0% of crimes, 0% of drugs and substance abuse. For us, in our where we are coming from, our organization where is based in, it was the one with the good number of children with discipline, integrity, everything. And for us, me personally feel so much and blessed as well. And for me, I think we are not lagging behind. Keep on pushing, and we must keep on people will hear us how, because what we want is equal, but we must still keep on pushing.
Thank you so much, Winfrey, for that insight, and I appreciate that. From your effort, you've mobilized children to that number. 200 children is not easy to manage, and it's also good to see that you work with other partners in seeing that the charter is I mean the aspirations are realized. So back to you, Imam, from your perspective, where you're coming from, do you feel there is enough being done to achieve the aspirations of the Agenda 2040?
So actually, my son is around, so it's a bit distracting. So I think I can say number one, as a county, as Busia County, because there must be a conversation. And I am really encouraged that we are moving towards Agenda 2040. How? Most of the stakeholders, NGAO, the national government, administrative officers, stakeholders like Terrestrial Homes, stakeholders like World Vision, my own organization, WETEC, whereby there's that Joining Forces Alliance for Child Protection within Busia County, and it has all stakeholders, all the CSOs, all government officers from every department. And the fact that we're already sitting with these children and addressing this issue, it means once the conversations have started and we have strategies, I think we are almost there. And just having the children's court, which was done by one of the CSOs in Busia County, and they really advocated for that strongly. Our own organization is in the Gender Technical Working Group, and we formulated the zero gender-based policy. And in this policy, we have also involved on how, as a county, then we can protect children from violence. And this is regardless whether the children are boys or girls. The policy protects all of them. So the fact that we're having conversations, the fact that we are making policy, and the policy is almost the next stage where it will be taken to the county assembly, it really means things are changing. And as an organization, as WETEC Kenya, we have a program. It is girl-centered, but as much as it is girl-centered, you have boys as allies, where they involve in games, like the Adventures of Fatuma. So we make them interact during the game and get to learn about each other, their rights, and how then they can be allies and protect each other. For example, the issue of menstrual hygiene, for example, instead of the boys laughing at the girls, then we put them together. So they get to understand the challenges of either sex, and then they get to understand as children what their rights are, what the future looks like, so that they can advocate for themselves. Because I always say, when we don't bring in the children themselves, sitting on the table, being there with these adults and discussing, we may not reach that agenda. So I'm just glad that these CSOs are involving the children, and I think there's that the Children's Assembly or Children's Parliament. I think it is still very active, and that's something that we should really take pride in as a country. There may be challenges, yes, but I think we are heading towards Agenda 2040. And just the fact that we are all here, the fact that we are all here discussing this and collecting these strategies, which I'm sure Noli will compile somewhere and put a report so that all of us can follow up in each and every county. So I think we are moving there. I like being optimistic because conversations are going on, government is being involved, and probably it's just Busia County, but for me, I must give kudos for the government officials in this county, especially the children's department here. They mobilize, they have meetings, they follow up, they do reports. When you take a case, the only challenge we've had is chiefs, na mnajua hii Kenya na kitu kidogo, you know. Hapo tu tukitengeneza kidogo tu, hizi kesi zingine hazitapotea. So I think as a country, as a county, as Busia County, we are really doing well, and we are really doing well, and we are moving there. And we've had a chance to learn from each other, from various organizations. So I must say, Noli, I think as a country, we are headed there towards achieving Agenda 2040. There are gaps, yes, but most implementations, whether in CSOs or government, they have gaps. So it is just a matter of capacity building and strengthening organizations so that we can protect children's rights together. Thank you. And probably I must insist on collaborative and collective effort. That's something that really works well for Busia County, and all other counties can adapt that. Thank you.
Asante sana. You see, I'm running so fast to get to your notes because umeniambia after here we have something to share and gives us a way forward. And there are interesting things that includes the children assembly, which are not being run in all counties, and it was such a great platform for building up young people, because I mean Aspiration 10 is about having the voices of the children count. So just to get to hear from our colleague Mariam, maybe at your level, I mean, where you're operating from at your county level, are there efforts, are there progress, are there hopes and good things as much as the aspirations are concerned? Ama the offices, people have folded and gone back home?
No. There's hope. Huh? Let me say there's hope. Huh? Because just a few months ago, I mean, Hamisi has been working on trying to push for the formation of gender setting working group. And I'm glad to say that it has been formed, and we are yet to meet. Actually, there was a meeting just the other day, the day that Uhuru was launching, President Uhuru was launching the port. That was I think the first meeting, and I'm sure there's going to be a series of meetings so that we make it into a policy at a county level. And another thing that I would like to say is that as Toto Center, we are doing a good job. We know that in order to work with children and to get to know what they really want, we have to listen to them. Their voices matter. And as Toto Center, we have begun forming child rights clubs in schools. This is something that has not happened in Lamu County schools. So we are hoping to enlighten the children on their rights, so that maybe they have an active voice. But okay, these things they know, but maybe they just don't know how to express them. So we want to teach them about their rights, form rights, child rights clubs in schools, and then we can move forward from there. And then the other thing was, what did we want to talk about? And then another thing is our collaboration with the Coach Users Committee. The Coach Users Committee in Mpeketoni is currently on a project. We want to build a rescue center, home for the children and also for the GBV victims. So I think that is a moving progress. We are working together and we are hoping for the best. So Agenda 2040 is it's a work in progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mariam, for that. I understand that as much as the evolution is concerned, it varies from place to place, and
yes,
there are those areas which we have been given the opportunity to be able to progress, and you'd find that all departments are involved. There are technical working groups, and it all takes the goodwill of the person in the office. So maybe I'd invite Naima to get to hear about the progress in her county. Is there any progress as much as the 2040 generations are concerned? Is there hope? I mean, is there progress, and what can we say as much as the aspirations are concerned? Karibu.
Okay. What I can say is, okay, in Mombasa, I can see we have, the children's officers everywhere, and they're very active, and they're very effective when it comes to child protection. And we're also, we're planning for an event to commemorate the same, and the event will be on 12th. And this event will be done in Jambu sub-county with local children at the community level, of which most of the time children from the community are left out. So the event will be held at a community level, of which we are targeting 50, but whoever comes in will be accommodated. So I think what you are doing in Mombasa is good. And we also have the Mombasa County Child Rights Network, of which all the stakeholders who are dealing with child protection, child issues are sitting together and planning for everything when it comes to children, and also sharing experiences. We've had different activities, and one of them which was implemented in last year by through UNDP in partnership with KUSA and which organization I've just forgotten it. It was about access to justice for children. So through the engagement, we've learned a lot, and part of the personnel from different organizations in the 30 organizations were trained as paralegals. So I can see we're on the right track as we talk, even though we have some challenges, of which, slowly but slowly we're addressing them. Thank you.
Hata mimi simsikii.
Sorry, I had I had muted myself. Problems. So just want to get to hear recommendations and way forward. We'll start with you, Mariam. Now you are the first on the screen. What is your recommendation? What is your way forward?
Well, I don't know whether I should talk about Lamu. For starters,
Generally,
we
as
would
a
like
county, as a country, as a continent.
Okay. As a county, I would like for decentralization on institutions, the registration, because Lamu is not a very large area, but place your registration is only one, and homes are very, very, very far. And you see the situation of Lamu people is not that so good. So I would advocate that an institution for registration iletwe karibu. Kuko na decentralization, we have Lamu East and Lamu West. So if there is an institution in Peketoni, it will serve the people from Lamu West. And then another recommendation is for the homes, for the children homes. I don't know whether to call them children's homes or what. Let's not call them Bostol or correctional centers for children. Let us give them a better name, like Amoit had said earlier, so that our children do not feel like they are, I don't know, they are sinners or something, so that they do not retaliate. And just sometimes you can, unasaidia kumbe hata ndo unaharibu. So let us make it lenient for them, so that they can maybe that way they will not engage into crimes. I think let's take another one as I prepare. Maybe I'll have an addition. Thank you, Nori.
Thank you so much, Mariam, for that. Maybe we welcome Winfrey to hear from her. What's our take home? What is, I mean, the recommendation, the way forward, something that we can take as partners, as individual organizations from our respective localities, so that we can achieve the Agenda 2040, and of course, an African continent that is fit for children. Karibu.
Thank you, everyone. As I said earlier, this registration is a certificate should be given for free. And the second thing, the children should be engaged into various activities so that they could not go astray. The second thing is that let us make these children feel at home. We should not neglect them, like the way Amoit said earlier. If we want to make something home for these children, we should not call it approved school or anything. These children should feel much at home, much loved. And the second thing, and the last one that I will always say, let us try to we should keep on teaching them about bad things like these crimes and everything. We should keep on safeguarding them. And we should give them these platforms, and get them in so many activities and so many new platforms, so that they can see that they are also accepted in the community, not neglected as well. And the other thing, the parents should listen to their children, not neglect them. Thank you so much, Noli. Kuski. You're not hearing you.
Actually, I'm in a place where their children are passing and they are doing some funny sounds there. So in place of chasing them away, I'd prefer to mute my microphone. Nisiwakose watoto because this is their special month. So I'd welcome, of course, Emma to get to hear from you. Recommendation and way forward. Maybe if you want to invite us in Busia for benchmarking, we get Mariam from Lamu, Naima, Mombasa, and Fred from Nairobi. We come benchmark as much as child protection is concerned. Karibu, Emma, tupatie your recommendation and
Asante. I think benchmarking lazima Noli, bado tunapanga vitu vingi ni benchmarking, hata si tunataka tuje kwa benchmarking. So I think I would say for me, recommendations or way forward for me, one would be reviewing the current child safeguarding policies, both at CSO level and government level. Probably it's time. I don't know if your organization has a child safeguarding policy. I don't know if Naima's, Shakirina, and Toto Center and Child Space from Winnie and Mariam, they have child safeguarding policies. I think when we get to learn new things every other day, and therefore these child safeguarding policies, papers should be reviewed, probably annually, so that it caters for the upcoming need, because the world is evolving and children get new challenges every other year, especially with technology. So reviewing those policies and making sure they're protecting the rights of children is really, really important. Then inclusivity. For me, inclusivity is really key. And when I'm talking of inclusivity, I'm talking including children with disability, including like intersectionality and inclusivity, because not all children come from all same backgrounds. So these policies should also cater for specific needs for children who are disabled, who are coming from rural communities, urban communities, who then are coming from low-income households. So policies that meet all these, and when we're having sessions or stakeholder meeting, include all these children from all kinds of backgrounds. Another thing probably is collective action. Collective action in the sense that, like what we are doing right now, this is a very good example of collective action. Then can this then be emulated through now the community? This is virtual. As I gave you an example, collective action and collaboration is really working very well in Busia. The Children's Department has been very supportive in the various cases that we've taken to them. The chiefs, when it comes to children, Ngao, Children's Department, CSOs, everyone should be involved. So collective action and collaboration is very, very important moving forward towards achieving Agenda 2030. Then again, resources, Noli. All this cannot work where people don't, parastatals, governments do not intentionally invest in child protection. The national government should be very deliberate during budget preparation in terms of child protection. The county government should be very deliberate in terms of budgeting for children's rights and protection. So, because then, how do we build homes for children? How do we improve approved schools, as they are currently called? I'm putting it in quotes because I don't like that name. How do we improve quote unquote approved schools? How do we improve the criminal justice system for children? So all this requires finances, it requires human resources, it requires technical know-how, and there must be deliberate effort from all parties, CSOs, government, international community, because Day of the African Child is not just for Africans alone, because there are other stakeholders that are involved, especially in child protection around the country. So thank you so much. I think the rest everyone has said. Asante.
Thank you so much, Ima, for that input. We'll give an opportunity to Ima to get to hear her final remarks, recommendation and way forward, and then of course provide an opportunity to all of us to do our final remarks as we are saying kwaheri, and looking forward to seeing how each one of us will be commemorating the Day of the African Child in our respective counties. Maybe Naima, from you end, what is the recommendation and way forward as much as the realization of the Agenda 2040 is concerned? Karibu.
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost is I want to say, when you are given the opportunity to be the last person, which means everyone have said, everything is said. So what I want to say is, number one, what I recommend is we need to push for the effectiveness of the Children Assembly, because as we talk currently, they're not functioning. So number two, we need to enhance participation of children during commemorating of the Day of the African Child, because we've seen most of the time during preparation of these activities, okay, the children are just the invited guests, or they are just the invited ones. But now we need to, have a dialogue with these children and let them plan for the activities. Let them plan for what they want to see. Let them plan so that they will now invite us, the elders. So those are what I want to say, because most of the points have already been shared. Thank you.
We'll get to hear our closing remarks from all of us. Tutaanza na Miriam, alafu tunaendelea kwa Winfrey, and then we close na Naima.
Well, thank you for giving Toto Center this chance. We are a very new organization. I think we are 3 years old. So this was a great opportunity for us. Thank you so much. And we're hoping that we will work together in ensuring that our children are protected. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Winfrey?
It was nice. Neymar, Miriam, Amoit, guys, but this is my part. It was really awesome. And I'm so happy. I'm going to go up. But at least at home. And thank you so much for this wonderful platform. I know we're working with you guys, and that I've said earlier, we shall continue to get children. Thank you, Lord.
Asante. Let's hear from Moit.
I'm here. Yeah, so I think for me, I'll just say it's an honor that I've met Naima. Naima, we interact a lot on Twitter. I don't know if you noticed. So it's an honor that I'm getting to share a platform with you. I've interacted with Toto Center too, so it has been very exciting, and just in terms of work. I think it has been worthwhile, and I'm looking forward to further engagement and partnerships. I hope you all stay safe. This thing called COVID is still around, so stay safe, stay safe, stay safe. So see you on the other side, sending you all the love and all the self-care that you need for yourself.
Thank you.
Asante.
Naima, you're putting shots.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. And it's a golden opportunity from our organization. And I believe through greater partnership, we can achieve the Agenda 20. Thank you very much. Looking forward to more and more engagement. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much also from my end for you people having time to join in this conversation. I believe it's just a beginning of so many things that we can do collaboratively as much as children's rights are concerned. And without further ado, Asanteni Sana, it's already 6. I know there are those of us who want to go for prayers. There are those of us who are parents who want to attend to our young ones and
children.
Yeah, mambo ni mengi.
Yeah.
So thank you so much na until then kwaherini sana.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye, dear. See you guys.
Karibu pamoja.
Take care. Bye.
Kwaheri.